Ilir Latifi came out talking about Chimaev. Latifi, of course, training partner, friend of, sees in the room Chimaev. And I love stories like that, guys. I've seen the same thing you've seen, Chimaev. I don't think it's just hype. I think there's something special there. But the training room stories, I mean, this is how folklore is created. In the early days of the sport, 93 through 97, if you had a big reputation, you could get into the UFC without proving what you did. There wasn't a lot of regional opportunities. There wasn't a lot of shows, but there was gyms. Everybody knew who their baddest guy in each weight class was, and these stories would build, boom, you could get signed. But that still holds up to this day. It's no different than the baddest dude in your high school. I could ask any of you who the toughest guy in your high school was. You could have graduated 30 years ago like I did. We all know the answer. Justin Wolf, there's my answer. And everybody in the class of 95 at Westland High School will tell you the same damn thing. But everybody knows who that is. It's a very real thing. So I like it when a guy like Latifi, who's a stone cold badass himself, comes and puts his friend over. I talk to Jake Ellenberger a lot because Jake will go in the room and watch Chimaev when Chimaev's in Las Vegas. Jake said, Chael, I don't know if he's better on the ground or he's on his feet. He's never shown what he can do on his feet. He can kickbox with anybody. And I could even tell you matchups that he had. The Extreme Couture is a real who's who. I could drop some names on you, but Jake shared this with me, and I gotta keep it private. But seeing what you see, because we've seen guys on rolls before. We have seen guys who get on a roll. Everything just goes their way. This is not the first 4-0 start that we've seen. It's one of the more impressive ones, but maybe not even the most impressive. I could go back to the Frank Shamrock days. Everything was going Frank's way. Frank picked the guy up one time and put him down. The guy hit his head and got knocked out on the metal frame of the octagon. I mean, but everything was going Frank's way. So we have seen these kinds of rolls. I need to know what's going on behind the scenes. I need to know how hungry this guy is. I need to know how disciplined he is. I need to know how hard he works. Is he the first one there? Is he the last one to go? Is this truly what he wants to do, or does he have distractions in other areas? See, running around with all sorts of women. Is he got a gambling problem? Is he putting things up his nose and his face? I mean, I ask these questions. I'm going to bring you the answers, but I look into this stuff. I want to know who's who. I want to be on the forefront of it. I think the Chimaev talk is real. And when Latifi comes out and he gives the rub, Latifi's a badass himself. This was his interview. He had an opportunity to put himself over. He called timeout, did it for a friend. That friend's got to be pretty goddamn good to get somebody of Latifi's status to come out in his own interview about himself and hand the rub to you. So it's very meaningful, but Latifi said some other stuff, and this is where it gets interesting. Latifi said he needs a little bit of time. Talking about Chimaev, he needs a little bit of time to deal with the pressure. He's become a media sensation. He's become a darling to the UFC. There's things that come with this, and how you're going to respond and how you're going to act. That's what he needs the experience with. He doesn't need more, this is all Latifi, doesn't need more experience before he goes in there and fights the top guys athletically. He's a young guy who's maturing in the sport. Now I'm starting to add a couple of words to what Latifi said. I just got it. When Latifi gave these, I knew exactly what he meant. It was a very mature response, and Latifi is a veteran. If there's anyone Chimaev should turn to, how you handle these situations, what do you do over here? The media is telling me all these nice things. Are they truly my friend? No, they aren't. You need Big Brother to tell you. He's got Gustafsson around him. He's got Latifi around him. He's got some very good people. But what the hell do you do with Chimaev? We're still in the same spot, guys. We're in the same spot that every time I open my mouth about Chimaev to talk to you guys, we're in the same exact spot. I read your comments. I think you guys have great ideas, but you know what my idea is. My idea, I sailed in it. I had to put a lot of work into it. Boom, Neil Magny. Why? Well, Neil's a stud. People know who he is. He's a ranked guy. Oh, and by the way, he wants the match. I feel I've done a pretty good job. If I insert Neil Magny versus anything else that comes back to me, I feel as though I did a pretty good job. But guys, I'm also trying to operate within the confines of the rules. I feel like some of your comments aren't doing that. Some of your comments go, oh, Gilbert Burns is a better fight. Get him in there with Colby Covington. I'm not disagreeing with you on what a bigger fight would be or even what a better fight would be. We have to operate within the rules that we've been given. We've only been given one clue by the boss, Dana White, which is I'm going to slow this guy. He's 4 fights away from being in a conversation to fight Kamaru Usman. And we all get that 4 doesn't have to mean 4. 3 means 4. 5 means 4. 18 months means the same thing as 12 months as it does 15 months, right? It's a broad stroke, Dana right off the top of his cup, and this is the one and only clue we've been given by Dana. Dana followed that up by saying, I have a plan for him. And Dana is confronted with the information that I have about Neil Magny. He knows it, and he's not going with it. So these are the clues that we have. What do all of those mean? And I have to bring that to you because I hear a lot of people talking about Colby Covington. Colby Covington does not operate within those confines. You beat Colby Covington, you're fighting for a world championship. You cannot beat Colby Covington and not have the whole world view you as the number one contender. Wouldn't it be possible? That goes for anybody. Anybody who wants to fast track this thing, get in the cage with Colby. The only thing that we figured out the night that Kamaru fought Colby, Kamaru was a champion coming in and Colby was the number one contender. The only thing that we found out is we had the right two guys. Those are the two best fighters in the world at 170 pounds. And the order didn't change. Kamaru showed up number one and Colby showed up number two. Kamaru woke up the next day at number one and Colby woke up next at number two. Nothing changed. And I've got to get you to see that point. I got to get you to agree with me because otherwise you're going to keep saying Colby should go in there and fight Chimaev. I'd love to see the fight. Got no problem with it. It wouldn't operate within the confines that Dana White set up. You cannot beat Colby and then still have to beat three more guys before you get in the conversation with Kamaru Usman. Can't happen. Not to mention MMA math. What if he beat Colby easily? What if he beat Colby every round? What if he stopped Colby? Now you've got the MMA math where you go, this guy not only deserves to fight Kamaru, he can beat Kamaru, right? I mean, it changes everything. And that's not the position that we're in. I think the same thing is to be said for Masvidal. If Masvidal is not going to put up the BMF belt, which sounds like it's not his choice, they're not going to do a lineage, they're not going to bring the BMF back, Chael's not going to get his way, and Chael's not going to quit talking about it. I'm going to be a little brat about this thing until somebody finally does see it my way. But that belt matters. The boys want it. Put the goddamn thing up. Anyway. You can't get the jump on George Masvidal and not become the number one contender. He was the number one contender, twice. So again, now you're eliminating players. If we're operating in the confines that Dana White said of 15 months, 4 fights, which again, we're not going to hold him to literally, but it's a pretty good structure. Dana could have said one of a million numbers. He said 4. Let's operate on 4. Who do you put Chimaev with? Who do you put Chimaev with that doesn't automatically push him to the top, which apparently is not where he's allowed right now to go? And I like what Latifi said, because there are two sides to this, guys. I've had a lot of friends, I could drop their names, and I learned a lot from them, but it was on what not to do. It was what not to do. Clayton Hires used to talk to me about this stuff. We did not just train and learn punches and kicks and how to get in shape and get your mind right. He would talk to me about these other things. Who you let into your bubble, who you exchange phone numbers with, what parties you start going to that you didn't go into the past, and it was none of them. He told me you're girls. He said, you want to meet a girl? You have better known her before you got to this spot, or she needs to be a sister of one of your buddies. That's it. If it's any other girl approaches you or comes up, no, wrong girl. But this is good advice. This was stuff that my coach who'd been there and done that and been through it and seen it a million times would bring me, keep you grounded. I've argued for you guys a million times over what kept Stipe on top so long and what's keeping Stipe on top now, and that is where Stipe is. He's still on top. Is that damn fire department. He's got hours. He's got a schedule. He knows exactly where he needs to be. He needs to know where he's sleeping tonight. He knows what time he's got to get up in the morning so he can meet these obligations. It has kept him absolutely grounded. I talked to a guy from Cleveland just the other day. Said, hey, by the way, Dale Smith's from Cleveland. I said, by the way, Stipe Miocic. She goes, oh, yeah. I got excited. I said, you know Stipe? I said, yeah. I said, is he a big deal in Cleveland? People know who he is? Guy's always a hero. Everybody in Cleveland knows who he is. Now, in all fairness, there's not a lot of people getting in trouble in Cleveland. I mean, Stipe is just not subject as a byproduct to some of the bad decision makings and some of the parasites that come along with this sport or any sport or fame or any fame or financial gains or any financial gains. He's just not subject to it. And I bring that to you because I don't know Chimaev terribly well. In fact, I met him one time in my life. Really enjoyed him. Seen his skills 4 times in my life. Know his reputation, hear wonderful things. See his own teammate, a veteran in Latifi, use his own interview to shine up and build Chimaev. These are people around Chimaev who like him, who believe in him, and who are helping to guide him. I would encourage, and I'm trusting that it's already happening, that Chimaev listens to the Latifis, listens to the Gustafsons of the world. But the point is all the same. Whether he's a Superman or not, he's only a man. That's human. And things can get to you, and you got to be real careful what you let into your bubble. And I really liked what Latifi's saying about there is the physical side. He's got that mastered. The mental side, he's still being tested. Bring him up a little slower. To me, that's very measured, and that's very good advice.